Welcome everyone, I am SuperBen. Thank you for joining me. Today in this video we will be going through the history of the Dram belt, and then I will be commentating my new world record run for Dram 1 any percent. So thank you for being here, and let's begin. So the history really all begins back in 2007 with T. Takamoto creating a game called Kaizo Mario World, also known as Asshole Mario. This was an incredibly difficult version, fan game, ROM hack of Super Mario World, intended, as far as we can tell, to be done with save states for his friend Arkiba, who would upload his videos of this game to Nico Video. We're going to watch a little bit of what one of these save state runs look like of Kaizo Mario World.
Oh, fuck you. Oh, fuck you! Jump! Jump! No, not on me. Jump, football man. Football man, why aren't you jumping? Did I just...
And that's pretty much what a normal person looks like attempting Kaizo Mario World 1. So that was how the game began. Eventually, people got good enough at this game that they could do it without save states, and they would do it RTA. And one man, Dram55, got so good that he beat the entire Kaizo Mario World any percent without a single death. We'll watch a little bit about it, a little bit of him playing here.
Which is a half hour west of Washington, D.C.
So Dram was an absolute gamer, and he beat Kaizo Mario World 1 world record in 14 minutes and 29 seconds. Completely changing the game. Enter Pangia.
Just take a step back and relax.
Let's take a step back, relax, and let Pangia create the game in honor of Dram55, which would be Super Dram World.
Hi everybody, my name is Dram Bear.
It.
This is Super Dram World. It's a ROM hack that was made by this man right here, the Pangia. For those who don't know what a ROM hack is, For those who don't know what a ROM hack is, this is it's basically kind of like fan fiction for video games. Is the best way to describe it. So the idea of this is like, what if Mario was made by a really pissed off teenager who wanted you to die all the time? And that's the kind of the fan fiction. And that is him right here.
Everything here I am.
Alright, so yes, Pangia, really pissed off teenager. Dram World was next level in its difficulty. It was more difficult than Kaizo Mario World 1. And, you know, in honor of Dram for his speedruns of Kaizo Mario World, the speedrun community surrounding Dram World became very top tier. We had such big names as Grand Pooh Bear, Juzzcook, Xwater, Dode, even Pangia himself submitting runs of Super Dram World. And eventually, with the help of LinkDead and others, some strats were developed, and Pooh would come out on top, absolutely dominating the Super Dram World speedrun scene. And he would take both the any percent and the 100% record. And in honor of that, this video here, you can see Pooh Bear running Super Dram 1 at GDQ. And this was the first experience I ever had with Kaizo ROM hacks, and it's kind of what inspired me to play myself. Let's go on to some of the amazing things that Grand Pooh Bear did. So one of the things I wanted to bring up here was Pooh wasn't happy in the first castle with just taking an intentional death, which is kind of what's expected here. You would go into the fight, you would take an intentional death, and then the Wendy pattern is known. But that costs about 10 seconds, and Pooh instead learned all of the possible RNG Wendy patterns so that he could come into the fight. And all he would have to do is watch a cycle, and he would know where Wendy would be the next 3.
And
And we almost had a 100% world record. Like, we were actually really, really close to a 100% world record.
And as far as I know, he's the only one who ever did that, who ever took the time to learn the Wendy patterns and just dominate by doing that. One of the other, well, the most amazing thing in my opinion is his strategy in the water level here. Now this shell that Mario's holding right now is not intended to be carried forward through the rest of this level. You're supposed to, kill this chuck with it, and the sprites would cancel each other out, and you'd swim normal through the rest of the level. But Pooh isn't happy with that either, so we'll watch how that goes. Alright, now we'll stop there. So here he is with the shell and the gold tape. Now if he just carries the shell through the gold tape, the shell will turn into a mushroom, but it'll float away into the ceiling. And he won't be able to collect it. He won't be able to have the mushroom for the next level. But there's a series of inputs you can do. It's like, I've heard quadruple frame perfect. I wouldn't know. I've never pulled it off, in spite of trying literally every time I come here. But Grand Pooh Bear somehow did it. I still don't know how. And so here he is with the mushroom. And what is he going to do with that mushroom? Yeah, he's a little excited. On this kind of pace.
Adult slingshot.
Deathless to this point, and he comes through with the mushroom. So what that does is it creates a glitch in the game where he gets knocked off of the rope while holding onto it. And what that does is the game thinks the entire background is a rope, and that allows him to just jump over this entire stage. It's pretty free when you do that, in spite of him almost killing himself. And in the end, we won't watch through the whole thing, but in the end it saves him 20 seconds in this level versus not having that mushroom coming in. So just, it's mind-blowing. Maybe it doesn't look that impressive, but it's mind-blowing. All right, so this run was absolutely incredible. He was 47 seconds ahead of the world record he already held. Unfortunately, 3 levels from the end of the game, he would have a little bit of bad luck. Now he's attempting to pause to despawn those flames. Essentially the flames are on a global timer. If you pause before they shoot, the flame doesn't show up. He messed up his timing, got a little out of sorts, and that cost him a good amount of time. He ended up making a few more mistakes in that level, and that cost him the deathless Dram world. That was the second time he was in the final world deathless, and that run was lost. Same run here. He gets all the way to the end, 22 seconds behind, ends up playing the end perfectly, and comes out with a new world record of 23 minutes and 13 seconds. And that world record would stand, I mean, Pooh already had the world record. He had it since 2016, but that world record would stand from 2019
that's a new world record,
until the end of 2020.
For any percent. That is a new world record.
So what's next? Now what's next? So that wasn't it for Pangaea. Pangaea would go on to create Super Dram World 2, a sequel that is in a lot of ways even more difficult. I would say much more unfair, much more brutal, and Pooh would again absolutely dominate. The speedrun scene was big for Dram World 2, but again Pooh came in and absolutely dominated the scene and held at the same time the world records for Dram World 1 any%, Dram World 1 100%, Dram World 2 any%, and Dram World 2 100%. Absolutely mind-blowing. And one of his fans would, because Pooh is such a wrestling fan, create him a belt to commemorate his Dram 1 and Dram 2 dominance. This belt right here, the Dram Unified World Record belt. And here's Pooh discussing it.
Yeah, so I wanted to talk about, though, a little bit about that belt back there. So it's basically anybody that has all 4 Dram World records at any given time, I'm going to send them that belt. So if you are out there and you're thinking, oh, I can do this, first of all, good luck. Secondly, just bring it is what I'm saying.
I will send you that belt if you do it. So if you want a $10 belt, like, get ready to put in hundreds and hundreds of hours. Right here, I actually use.
All right, so there he is, laying down the gauntlet and saying, if anyone can take all 4 world records, he will send them the belt. And that was a challenge set down in 2018, early 2018, and it would go on to be virtually unchallenged. No one would take a single one of those 4 world records until 2020. With that being said, that is the history of the Dram belt, and the next step of this video is we shall now go through my any percent new world record. And I am unprepared for this. All right. This is me. We gotta get myself set up here properly. Hold on. Okay, all right, now we're good. Okay, so here comes the commentary portion. This is the new world record set by me of Dram World Any Present here just a few days ago. I did it on stream, but I had my mic and cam turned off so I could be in full focus mode because I'm not a true gamer like Pooh, who can just have a full conversation on with people and still play like a madman. My splits here up in the top left, you can see some memes here with my face and Panga's face and Pooh's face. On the left we have my PB, and I'm running against full 100% splits for various reasons. And on the right is Pooh's world record time. And so I'm running against that, and what we're going to do is add the commentary that I did not do at the run itself. So we enter into the game. Inspired by Kazumar World Series, this hack is dedicated to one of the best Mario speedrunners alive, Dram 55. Ah yes, and there are plenty of rhymes and memes throughout the text boxes in this game. So level 1, we do this little fast strat here by hitting that Kaizo block, jumping over, getting an early bullet spawn. The rest of the level, pretty much done as intended. I would say I lose like 75 to 80% of my runs just on this jump right here because it's really hard to sneak through there. Get some P-speed here that isn't necessary but allows us to do the next section a little bit faster here. And then finish off this last jump a little bit more free than the midway jump, but there's some Kaizo blocks, so you got to be a little careful. And that's it. There's level 1. So one thing you'll notice, my kind of little optimizations tend to be slightly better than Pooh's. You know, I save half a second, 1 second in levels, but the big strats that Pooh does that he's so well known for, I just can't compete. Pooh, straight up, he's a better player than me. But you know, I did the grind. Level 2 is probably the freest level in the run. There's some Kaizo blocks to avoid. I do that P-switch 1 cycle faster than Pooh, and that lets me get out of there. Alright, and avoid the final troll, and we get the switch. Alright, on to level 3. Now level 3 is another giant run killer, mainly for 2 parts, and we'll show them. Pooh does a strat here at the beginning where he avoids this. So when you're bouncing with the shell on that piranha plant, sometimes you get a sprite interaction and they kill each other and then you're just dead. Pooh does a different way of doing that, so he avoids that sprite interaction, but I haven't learned it, so I take that risk. If those sprites interact about 1 in 4 times, the run's just dead for me. So that's the first thing that can kill it. Second thing that can kill it is right here. That little shell jump is like one of the hardest moves in this game. It is so difficult to get that shell jump to work. And I've never really found a consistent way to do it. I just kind of pray. And again, level 3, probably 75% of my runs die right there. Continue going through here. Second half of this level is basically free. You do a little screen scroll here to avoid Kaizo blocks. Apart from that, pretty much basic. Level 4, I don't actually know who discovered this, but someone found out that you could do a fast chuck strat here in level 4. I often chicken out and I don't go for it because it's a little bit RNG and you can just die to it. But you're gonna see right here, we go onto the stealth and immediately jump and under that chuck. Really sketchy, but it worked. For the most part, for the rest of this level, not too difficult. Right before this midway right here, there's a Kaiser block on the right, so you gotta be going through the left side of there. Apart from that, pretty straightforward. Do some bouncing. Right here, we are going to do a little skip right here. So we jump between those guys, do a quick little double bounce, bam, saves us a few seconds, and you hope for an RNG dolphin that's going to bring you to that pipe, which worked out that time. So next level is the castle. So this is a classic of the Kaiser Mario World series where we have a 5-room castle, 5 different rooms you have to get through, no checkpoints between them, and you just have to not die. For the first play, this castle tends to be quite a sticking point, but for the speedrunners, this is one of the easier levels. None of these rooms are hugely difficult. You can see this room's fairly free. That fish can kill you pretty easy, but apart from that, this one we go, as fast as you possibly can, which makes that final jump just a little bit tight. RNG dolphins, very free in this room. There's only really 2 possible patterns they can be. Both are equally fast. Quick and easy room. This last room can sometimes cause problems with that first jump, but usually pretty free. And then you'll notice the first period where Pooh takes a big lead on me because I have not memorized the 20 Wendy patterns. So instead, take a quick death, and then I come in the second time I enter that fight. I know exactly where Wendy's going to be right off the bat. There's no questions. And yeah, we just follow the rules. 1 jump, 2 jump, and then she's going to be on the far right side here on the 3rd jump. And that's it. So World 1, I come out, you can see in my splits there, I come out a good 5 seconds, 6 seconds behind Pooh, something like that. All because even though I came into that castle 4.5 seconds ahead, I just am not big brain enough to learn the Wendy patterns. So there you go. And now we go into the water level where Pooh once again did the impossible by taking that mushroom out of the level. And my first death. That was just a bad one. I have no excuse for that one. That's really not a difficult obstacle, and luckily for me, it was early in the level, so only cost me 10 seconds or so. That chuck, we want to avoid him. If you hit him, you have to wait an extra cycle on this fish, but because we avoided hitting that chuck, we get to move through quick. Screen scroll here to get this chuck on screen, take the kill, and off we go. This ending is surprisingly precise. You need to do pretty much the exact right inputs here so that these little fish that pop up right there, you manipulate them so they show up exactly there and they don't end up killing you. So bam, we get the checkpoint and we are through. This, in my opinion, is one of the hardest parts of the game. So this is where we use Pooh and Eldad's strat of taking the shell throughout. So this stuff, not too difficult, item swimming is always a bit of a challenge, but nothing too crazy. But where things get really crazy is right here. Swimming through that, I attempt to do Pooh's magical ability and take the mushroom out, but I fail, as I have literally every time I've tried it. So no mushroom skipping the rope level for me. I have to do it legitimately and slowly. So here we go. Into the bridge of butter. But at least you get to see one of the most entertaining levels, and probably one of the more difficult levels in your first play, but for the speedrun, I would say one of the easier levels in the speedrun. There are Kaiser blocks, those hidden blocks that show up. They're everywhere in this level. Just constantly avoiding them. Very end, right before this checkpoint, if you don't jump right away early, like right there, if you don't do that jump, you'll get Kaizo'd and you'll be dead. Infamous Chuck here, sometimes he does not spawn properly, that's why this split's called Chuck skipping work. Sometimes he just doesn't show up. Not a problem here. 13 jumps on this platform is my strat. Gives it the exact right amount of time so that I'll come down just as the rope shows up. There's a Kaizo block there. Most people hit the Kaizo block, jump on top of it, jump over. I think I was the first one to figure out you could just jump early and make that jump. So there you go, my tiny contribution to this game. And there you go, we avoid a bunch more Kaizo blocks, make the jump to the end. And yeah, as you can see, I didn't have the mushroom skip, and I lost, what, another 18 seconds on Pooh? So here I am, 36 seconds behind, still in about halfway through the game. Well, not even halfway through the game. The run's 23 minutes. So things aren't looking good for me, but I know I have that time to save in the third last level. So this is the auto scroller. First half of this level, we do a little meme, we throw him into the ceiling there, but you're just kind of doing an escort mission for this Goomba. Pretty easy. Things can go wrong, but generally this is a pretty easy level for the speedrun. Well, sorry, this is a pretty easy half of the level for the speedrun. The second half of this level is arguably the most difficult single section of the game. And we'll get into exactly how that, exactly why there's such a big problem with that. I think it'll be pretty obvious. But one of the things that maybe isn't obvious is there is a Koopa at the end of the second half of this level that the first time you get to the level, the first time you play it, the Koopa is about half a tile lower than he is in every time after you get there, after you've taken a death in the second half, which for normal people playing this game just isn't a problem. But when you're speedrunning, you don't want to take an intentional death if you can avoid it. So so you have to kind of play around. So this one we're trying to feed this this Yoshi 5 things before we get to the end. And right here, we need to land right on the very edge of that note block to hit that Koopa who spawns half a tile early, and then get into that pipe. And those two tricks back to back are just horrible. So most of the runs, if they've made it through the first level, they've made it through that third level shell jump, they've made it through the water level, all those things, most of my runs, I would say probably 80%, 90% will die on those last two tricks in that level. But here we go, we got one, we got a live one made it through. So this is when the nerves would start picking up for me for sure. So this level, the ghost house, generally not too bad, but you gotta know your fishing boo, and you have to hope that this fishing boo coming up ahead behaves how you want him to. Anyone who's played these Kaizo games knows that fishing boos are notoriously difficult to get them to do what you want them to do. So I have kind of a defined way of doing this. I do a little bounce out left, 8 bounces on him here, 7 bounces on him here, bring him out right, and if all goes well, he'll just go over me like that, and that works. Do 11 bounces here, out right, and then 8 bounces here, and we are up. And then just easy into the door. Boss, mostly not bad. Just the way these Eries spawn, you need to do particular jumps. The Eries always spawn the same way the first time you come here. and you need to grab these 3 blocks. The last block is the hardest because you need to throw it on a 1-frame grab and get up to the ceiling to be safe. But there you go, no problems. We made it through. Saved a couple seconds back on Pooh there. So we're clawing the time back. About 33 seconds behind. 33 seconds behind going into the final world, 3rd world here. This level, not horribly difficult. Finishes off right before the checkpoint with a double shell jump, which in the day when this game was created, a double shell jump was really, really scary. But nowadays it's just par for the course when it comes to Kaizo games. The only thing that makes this one particularly difficult is it is just designed to make you have the 2 shells collide with each other. And I'll show you here. So if those 2 shells touch each other, they both break and then you're dead. But there you go, double shell jump, we get the H. Only real optimization that we have here in the second half is there is a flower up ahead where Pooh takes an extra cycle to allow flames to disappear before he jumps on the plant. Whereas I stole RB Pimlico's strat of going right from here straight to the flower. Bam, straight to the flower. We go fast enough that we beat those flames coming out, and then we go. I didn't, that saves me a bit of time. I didn't save all the time possible. If you're really fast, you can beat those flames down here. I got scared. I didn't want to risk it. I waited for him to pass. But that still allowed me to claw back a couple more seconds. So we're about 30 seconds behind Pooh, and we've got, what, 5? No, we've got 4 levels left. 4 levels left to make up that 30 seconds. So here we come into the janky Podoboo. Podoboo? That's what I call it. This level, fairly free as things go. The only thing that makes it difficult is just pure jank. Things can just go wrong, and there's not a whole lot you can do about it. Well, it's not quite true. We'll watch here. So, in order to avoid this Podoboo messing us up, we screen scroll out to the left, being careful not to despawn this boulder, hit the P-switch, jump onto the boulder, and now this Podoboo right here comes. If all goes well, he sneaks right under you, no problems. If you hit the Podoboo, sometimes you get one of those sprite collisions, kills you, and that's a huge time loss there because that's late, deep in the level. Another little optimization here, we turn back to despawn bullets instead of letting them shoot. So there's a... I don't even know if we save any time there, but pretty good level. So then here's the level. Yeah, not really any time saved. Here's the level, Underwater Fishing Booth. This is where Pooh lost all of his time in this round. This is where the only deaths he took were here. So I came in knowing I got a shot. Let's see how it goes. Do a little screen scroll left to despawn the saw, come up, be able to get past that, come down. Sometimes this Koopa can spawn weird, but didn't spawn weird that time, so... Oh, it did actually. So I got a little worried that the Koopa spawned too low. So because of that, I let it pass the cycle, and that ensured that it wouldn't behave weirdly. I made some mistakes just like Pooh did here. And I took the same death he did. Luckily, can you believe it? I made the same mistake Pooh did. Luckily, I didn't make the other mistakes Pooh did in this level, so here we go. I'll still be able to save a lot of time coming out of here. The second time, this Koopa doesn't spawn weird, and so this is how it's supposed to go. You just boop, 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 hit him like that, go up past the saw, and fast cycle your way through. Didn't bother with any pause strats that time. Had enough trouble with that. Second half of this level, we have another experience with the fishing boo, which notoriously hard to manipulate, but at least in this case, we're underwater, so now we get to move really slowly, and here we go. So this is the ideal This is the ideal movement you want to have going through here. You get him going above you there, and we hope for good Eerie patterns. These Eerie's are random. I took a little bit of a risk going for that Eerie, but it worked out. And we come out of that level. I could have saved over a minute. Well, yeah, over a minute, but instead I came out of that level saving a mere what, 33 seconds, maybe 32 seconds, and I come out of that level 1.2 seconds ahead of world record pace. And Pooh played the rest of the hack, the last 2 levels of any percent, absolutely perfectly in his world record run. So I knew I needed to play bang on perfect coming in here, and the nerves were high, that's for sure. Ultrastar is a difficult level. That jump right there is probably the hardest part, in my opinion. You need to hit that switch fast before the platform goes away, and it's quite tight. There's a hidden block underneath that switch, so you have to come at it from the right. Get in the H. We're gonna go through the second half. Nothing too crazy going on here. Avoiding hidden blocks all over the place. We hit this switch, and then this is one of the coolest setups in the whole hack. You go over here, and you need to be hitting this switch back and forth as you jump across to make that path for the platform to go. And then there's one last hidden block right there, and right there. You got to get under them both, and there we go. So I was second and a half ahead going into the final castle of any percent. I needed to play perfectly. So another thing to note, Pooh did ball skip, which for people who have played vanilla, you know ball skip is where you have the final boss, the Bowser, skip one of his phases, throwing one of Bowser's big balls by throwing a Mecha Goop at him right at the perfect time. Now, I hate doing ball skip because the Eerie patterns can really cause troubles, so I really didn't want to do ball skip. But with it being this tight, I didn't know if I would need to. So here we go. Most of these tricks not unbelievably difficult, but tight. This one right up here, it's a bit RNG. You might not fit into that. I barely tipped the edge, and then I first cycled that. Now I knew Pooh didn't first cycle that, so at this point I know I'm a good 2.5 seconds ahead of Pooh, and I decide I'm not going for ball skip. I know ball skip, I'm only maybe 1 in 4, 1 in 3 that I'm going to hit it, and if I miss it, I lose. But I know of another strat where I hold over a Mecha Koopa, hit him early, and it's only about a second slower. So I knew coming into this I was a good 2.5 seconds ahead. I'm just going to do the easier strat, the safer strat, and come in just a little bit ahead. So here we go. We wait. I got him at just about the perfect time, right as that Mecha Koopa was coming out. So now I know I'm even more ahead, because that was a really fast first cycle. This fight's just the basic vanilla Bowser fight, with the extra challenge of RNG Eerie's flying past. The most dangerous ones are the little eyes down below. Even down below, when you can just see the Eerie eyes, they can still kill you. So yeah. So that was my strat. I hit him right away. That makes this first ball come faster. It's not as fast as ball skip, but it's pretty fast. So here comes the second ball. And coming towards the end of the run. So these are the ones when their little eyes are just up there. They can still hit you like that. Luckily, Panga is nice enough to give us a mushroom from the peach. Future Kaizo games are not so nice as to give you a mushroom there. And just one more hit required for Bowser. I was a little nervous when I took that hit. Not a big deal. And there you go. With that split, bam, 23:10. It is a new any percent world record. Feels good, and I would go on the following day to get the 100% world record as well. I didn't get it in this run, but I got it the next day. That one was on with Mike and Cam on, so that was great. And I didn't mention before, but I also had the world records of Dram 2 any percent and Dram 2 100% as of earlier this year, which means I got the belt. That was it. And the next day when I got 100%, that was it. I got the Dram belt. So there we go. I've spoken to Pooh. I've actually spoken to the guy who made the belt as well, and both gave my blessing that I will be the new belt receiver. So Pooh's gonna mail it over to me. Super nice guy, of course. So I hope you all enjoyed that. And this was a different video than I've ever made before. So let's go back to the video. It's a different video than I've ever made before. So I hope that was enjoyable, and I hope you all have a great 2021. And I'll catch you next time. Bye.